questions. They've been selected to some extent and suggest taking up duplicates because we get a lot of the same questions being asked. We're trying not to have ones that have already been answered that were put forward earlier on. We've allowed 2 minutes to answer these questions, but look, that's the maximum. If you can answer it quicker than that's fine. Let's just get sort of rolling through and some of them are quite fast. We'll go from this end, Gordon, if you will. We'll use the roving mic as well, because it saves a lot of time with people coming up and down. So the question I've got here is, are councillors being hoodwinked by the Mayor and Chief Executive? It seems they act in a dictatorial manner.
I think hoodwinked is the wrong word, and I'll be honest, they are, well, the Mayor is elected, so he's the politician, and council employs one person, and that's the Chief Executive. He is the only employee, and he actually employs all the staff. So I think Neil, as Mayor, has been strengthened each term he's been re-elected in his resolve to make things happen as he would like. And he actually called me into his office a month ago, and it was the first time in 8.5 years it wasn't to tell me off for something. So I think maybe he's making progress in one respect, or he's being clever. But life's not like a game of chess where you can have a board and get people to do this so you will get the outcome you want. And that is the major reservation I have about how the council has been operated. That's the truth.
We have something called mayoral recommendations. Hugely important. The Mayor decides what's on the agenda, and there's a very good relationship with the current Chief Executive and the Mayor because we employed Gareth Green, and we saw this with the annual plan where the Mayor cleverly, not doing anything wrong, wanted to vote A, B, C, D, G, F, H in blocks, and he was doing it so quickly. Barley and Amanda put on the brakes because we were worried that we were going to approve the active hub, which Murray voted against. I think I got it wrong. And we had to go back, and the Mayor was really disgruntled and say, could you re-debate it? We think you've gone past it. Now, if you've got experienced councillors like Amanda Clinton-Godis, who's really, really on the ball, there's an example of not deliberate, but unintentional as part of the game. So that's my call.
Kia ora whanau. I'm only going to speak on behalf of myself. I'm not going to speak on behalf of any other elected members. No, I don't get hoodwinked. I'm fiercely independent. I make my own mind up and I take it from there.
The democratic process says that 8 votes at the table either get stuff passed or they don't. The Mayor only has 1 vote. The fact that the Mayor has the ability to manipulate the agenda to a certain extent is largely irrelevant. If 8 councillors were prepared to stand up because they knew that it was wrong, they could have stopped half of this stuff from happening.
Basically, Graham said it all.
Good on you, Graham. Yeah, Graham's right. Who's getting hoodwinked? The majority of councillors allowing themselves to get hoodwinked. Because a CEO and a Mayor can have an agenda. And if more than 8 councillors agree with that agenda, it's up to the CEO to go ahead and actually push that. So if the majority of councillors say go and spend, it's up to the CEO's job to say go and spend to his staff. If we have a majority of save-up type councillors that really want to hold them to account and they vote that way, guess what? The CEO has to do that. And hopefully with a new Mayor, we will allow him to challenge the CEO to make sure he's doing that, but he can only do that if we have a majority of saving type councillors around the table.
community board, I don't have direct contact with the CEO or the mayor, so I don't have an opinion on how they conduct themselves. But what I will say is I've never been a status quo person, and that I am an independent thinker. But what I do notice at a community board level is that council officers do write the agendas and the recommendations, and they can be written in a way that directs people in a certain direction. And I think we need people on council that ask questions, that are independent thinkers, that look outside the square, that are not status quo people. And we need to be able to analyse things astutely, really, and read between the lines.
Yeah, it's been well summarised, but I just want to add to what Teresa's saying. It's critical thinking. Ultimately, first thing is this what the community wants? Second thing is, what's missing? Like the signalisation for the hub. I think that's our job, is to be really objective and really dig down. It's not to make friends, it's to ask the hard questions. And that stops the groupthink, and then that's when you get the democratic choices that absolutely represent the community, not us. Thanks.
The next one is more of a yes/no one, and you may have not participated in this particular vote, but you can say yes or no as to whether you would have supported it. The question is, did you vote for or against the Tim Tams? Tim Tams.
Obviously, we're not councillors, so no, I didn't. And it's a perfect example of a textbook case where we're chasing money and we didn't really need it. And look at it.
Thanks, Adrian. Yes or no, please? Whether you would have voted if you had a vote, yes or no, and if you did vote, did you vote yes or no?
Then no.
Based on what we've got, I would say no. I live in Ormata and I drive that route every day, sometimes several times, and what I've noticed is that while it's become safer for cyclists, it's become less safe for motorists. And there are parts of it where I feel it's too narrow. I feel like the parks have been put in awkward places. I feel like some of the intersections are really tight. And so also too, what I will say is I think it's had a negative impact on business. I was talking to a business owner in Blagdon a couple of days ago and he says that his income's gone down 30%. I said no, actually, yeah. Have I got 2 minutes?
No. Yes or no? Sorry, make it clear.
No.
I'm a no as well.
Having submitted against it and spoken against it, it's a definite no.
Yes.
Yes, and very much regret it.
No.
What is your greatest achievement in whatever capacity you've been on, be it on a community board or on council? What's your greatest achievement from this last term you've served?
Oh, so many.
That wasn't a yes/no question.
In less than 30 seconds, supporting very upset CBD retailers worried about our rough sleeping whānau, and emceeing a fundraiser that raised $7,000 for the Taranaki retreat. I care about the community and I was able to represent both, and I had a very upset retailer about the rough sleeping whānau endorse me to stand for council, and of course backing the community board, the likes of Teresa and Graham, who are amazing.
I've had a few. Alongside Councillor Brown and others, just to see our incredible community organisations advocate for the spaces that they're in, the real champions of our community, and being able to support them, whether it's about food resilience, food sovereignty, whether it's about housing, whether it's about working together to find solutions, to be innovative. That's probably the most humbling. And one of the best examples is being able to enable them with resourcing, enable them with support, to help them become the champions of their community. Kia ora.
Having spent the last 3 terms with the majority of it not having any councillor support or representation at all at the council table, I think my greatest achievement is to have been able to negotiate the rights for board chairs and for community board members to have speaking rights at workshops and at the council table.
So for our community, especially with my previous chair getting our discretionary fund in, we've actually made an improvement to some of the infrastructure around about Inglewood and in our playgrounds, etc. like that. And also, because I'm mostly rural, we've made safety features happen on some of our extreme rural roads, like the Tarata Road, which is now going to be repaired at, through the use of both an endowment fund and everything like that, because yeah, with the logging trucks that come through, that road out there has been absolutely diabolical, and some of our other rural roads as well.
It's very, very hard to get your ideas past the block when you're the minority voter, not the minority ideas. However, I'll just talk about the last term, where I think it's really important, you didn't hear this in the media. In the last long-term plan, there were 2 motions moved by myself, one of the only 2 motions that successfully passed a savings, and they saved $1.9 million. There were no other motions passed that saved anything, apart from the 2 I moved. 1.9, but the media didn't write about it. But this term, like I say, very, very hard. I can't wait until we get a new round of councillors with new ideas and a new leader, and we can get it going. But the one thing I have achieved is there's an internal award, and we have several internal awards, and one's called the I Told You So Trophy. I've managed to hold that trophy all term, because my opinion usually comes right. It's a pity I don't have the support around the table.
Before I blow my own trumpet, I'd just actually like to acknowledge our chair of the Kaitaki Community Board, Graham Chard, who is one of the hardest working community board chairs I have ever seen. And I think he has worked like a councillor for a community board chair salary, which is a massive, there's a massive difference there. And I support him standing for council, because I think our area needs representation on the council table. But what I would say is that I feel like the 2 things that I'm really proud of from my community board term is when we consulted on our community board plan, which happens at the beginning of every term, using technology and other ways, I tried really hard to make sure that everybody in the community was heard and that we were reaching the people that had kind of given up on us. And the other thing is that I've been advocating for our coastal market, our coastal farmers market, and also working with them to write a proposal to get some of the discretionary funds from our community board. And I really support them because I support food resilience and I support local networking, and I'm really proud of the support that I've given them.
I actually too want to thank Graham and Christine. They come to all my community board meetings. They've been great support, and it's at the Merrill Forum we actually get to discuss a lot of things and advocate for change. So what's my big win? Well, Bell Block was designed and built by diggers with no plan, absolute fragmented design, and cut in half by state highway. We have advocated and pushed for a spatial plan, and that spatial plan is going to be our divining light on how we actually need to now rebuild and redesign Bell Block to be a really functional town. This is by far the fastest growing community, and actually it's going to be bigger than Hara by the end of the century. So, you know, it's a big deal how big it is. So for me, it is about getting council and councillors with Maori helping to actually understand how important it is that we make an investment in Bell Block to get it right. So yeah, pretty pleased about that.
Thank you, Adrian. This one's for current councillors. So if we work our way along, starting with Murray, please. Has debt reduction ever been put on the agenda for a council meeting? And if not, why not?
It should be, but we've got an attitude in council that we must, everything we build is debt funded, and we just can't keep control. So each project is a reduction on each one, but we're just loading it on top, and we're actually going overboard on it instead of actually just paying it off. So we're just loading it on top of debt over debt over debt, and that's the problem. But we need to get a hold of it, because it's going to be a real big problem when we're $700 to $900 million in debt.
No.
No, and an example would be our award-winning airport. Councillor Max Bruff, every time quarterly they come to report, he says, where's the dividend? And there's been an inordinate pressure to, instead of paying us a dividend, to use the money towards embellishments and infrastructure improvements. And it's kind of like when a parent gives a loan to the children and the children said, oh look, we've upgraded and dubbed the double glazing and we've done this and we've decided to do that, but when are you going to pay us back? So the answer is no.
No, it's never come to us, and I don't think it will have come on any agenda of any council in the country. We actually debt fund capital projects, and there's a very good reason for that. If we didn't, you imagine something like the airport, which was 33 million, which I fought most of the way because it was supposed to be 14 million was serviceable. You've got 33 million. Otherwise, if it wasn't debt funded, you'd have to pay that off at your rates in a year.
Sorry, Gordon, just to come back to the question, as the debt reduction, we're not questioning the debt funding for those projects, but has there ever been discussion at council about reducing the current level of debt?
I was gracefully trying to explain to you it was a silly question. Next.
No. You don't want to truncate your answer.
No, okay. Oh, I should say more.
Please do.
Oh, smile when your heart is breaking.
You should be in a band.
Oh, the thrifters. No, I'm finished actually.
Thank you. There's a rumour that the walkway could be built by using council land and without the need to buy land off anybody else. Is that something that's been put to council, or?
I don't believe that's true. I wish it were. But one word of explanation on that. When you accept NZTA funding, and they're paying 21 million of it off the top of my head, or close to that, they actually have a huge degree of control. And everything is gold plated, and they say yes to everybody, and it becomes at our expense. So what started off at our long-term plan at 8 million, 6 years later became 24 million, and is now up to 42.5 million. And unless you are walking along the new walkway with a 7-foot American basketballer, and you stand on his shoulders, and you may get a glimpse of the bloody sea. It's not coastal.
I'm on the Special Strategic